Hey everybody, it's Patty Dobrovolsky with Creative Genius U, our series. All right, okay, so this week we're going to start working with the very first part of our Creative Genius U equation, which is imagination. Imagination. Think about it. How many of you daydreamed and can remember a time when you daydreamed when you were a child and you had these imaginary friends? You did all kinds of things and you were totally committed to it. You know, whether you were playing by yourself or you were playing with your friends, you just created these forts and worlds and, you know, all these kinds of challenges that you had to help each other get through. And then as you grew older as an adult, you kind of let go of that imaginary friend thing. But it didn't mean that the imagination went away, even though some of us think that we don't use our imagination. The fact is that your imagination is on all the time, and it is the taproot of your creative genius. It's the place that you can go to draw resources for any kind of conundrum you're in. You know, when you're problem solving, you're using your imagination to help you get in and out of any kind of scenario, whether it's in the past or it's in the future. You're thinking about, what am I going to do for dinner? You know, or what am I going to do tonight? Maybe I'll take a bath, or maybe I'll just lay on the couch and watch some TV. You know, all kinds of things. This is how your imagination is. It's on all the time, and it allows you to access new ideas. Now, the truth is, most of us think that we don't have an imagination. I work with companies all around the world, and those companies, many of the people say, oh, I just don't have any kind of imagination. And I'm like, you know, we just brainstormed this whole list of things. How could you not have an imagination? How'd you come up with that? And they're like, oh, those were things I knew. Well, in fact, your imagination, whenever it's on, it's grabbing, when it's problem solving, from the things that you know, and it puts it on the prefrontal cortex, which is the problem solving part of your brain, and it mixes and matches them up until you get to a really awesome solution. Now, part of the problem when you're just imagining what do you want to do next or how do I get out of this situation is that you default to what Rick Hanson, who's the mindfulness expert, he calls the negative bias. And that's the slippery slope. I call it that. It'll just take me down into all the things that could possibly go wrong. So what you want to do is to be able to derail your negative bias and get to a positive focus. And the sooner you do that, the sooner you access all the creative genius tools that you have available. Because your creative genius, it really, using your imagination, it believes that everything you have seen, heard, read about, daydreamed, watched in a movie, it believes all of that is you, that was all part of your experience. So when it's problem solving for you, it's pulling up all those things out of the card catalog or slide deck of your hippocampus, your long-term memory, right? And so you want to use and access this imagination network, as Scott Barry Kaufman would call it, your imagination network, so that you can pull from that treasure trove of experiences. And that's what this week is about. Helping you to access and use and build and strengthen your imagination. Because when we are always getting inculcated or inundated with all kinds of information from the internet, we don't really use our imagination as much. It's feeding us data. And so we're not using our discernment. And we want to keep accessing and building our discernment about things using that imagination. So we stretch it. And so this week, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is this. First, I want you to raise your awareness about how you're using your imagination right now. So get your Creative Genius U journal out, and then just do this in one day, because if you do it in every day, it'll be like way too many days. In that journal, I want you to note, and carry it around with you, and when you know that your imagination is on, I want you to notice what time it is and how long you were using your imagination, if you can capture that. What were you thinking about? And then, was there any negative bias? And write down these things so that you're documenting you. be in charge of and studying yourself and how your imagination works, okay? That's first step. Step number 2 is, I want you to think of something that you want to change. Like, for example, in the blog post, I talk about wanting to change my yank and crank style of walking the dog, right? And so, but you might have something else you want to change, like, how much you use your cell phone, or that you allow yourself to use social media. Or it might be around something around your diet, or it might be around the things that you find yourself watching in terms of the news. Anything like this that you want to change, make it something simple that you can really kind of work with. And so for this example, I decided to do the cell phone use because I think many people are caught up in social media and they just get caught in there. Even TikTok, you can get caught in there and you're watching, and then I look and it's like a half an hour later, right? And so you want to think about how you want to change it, and you want to capture what you think is the issue. So, and I like to do it with pictures, and I found that when I was drawing pictures here, for this example for you, I started to draw the things I wanted. I already jumped over my negative bias, so I had to go back in and add the negative part first. So like too much, you might be using your cell phone too much, or too often, like you do it every day, all day, right? Or that you're focusing on the negative things and posting and reposting negative things. And so what you might want to do is think about how you can change it. So you might want to take a time out, like put a timer on. You can only be on social media for X amount during this part of the day. You could take time off completely. Some people do, like my friend Hannah, she just took like the whole 6 months off of social media. And you might only focus on the positive things and retweet any positive. And then I want you to notice, how did it make you feel? So this new normal of yours around it, did you love it? Did it help you, all that extra time help you to get things done? Did you feel more in balance? And did it decrease your stress? Just notice whatever it did for you. And then I want you to just send me a text or write me an email of how it impacted you, this change that you did, or post it in the Creative Genius U Facebook group. Go in there and join that, and I can't wait to see what you come up with. Come on, people. This is the most awesome thing, your imagination. Let's be scientific about it. Let's watch and see and study ourselves to see if we can't boost our imagination and our use of it in that Creative Genius U world that you're living in. Let's do this. I think. Oh God, it's still going.